Welcome to a deadline stream for Game Week 26. Now, this is going to be the longest or biggest double game week of all time, potentially, and the games will stretch up until Thursday, and a lot of people will be activating their triple captaincy chip. Some will be using their wildcard, and in my case, I'm going to be using the bench boost, so I'll be talking about all of that, and my final transfer, which I made yesterday, but I will admit, there might be yet another one today, it depends, but I very much doubt it. But thank you everyone who has joined in, and really appreciate it. And remember, subscribe to the channel and smash the like button if you enjoy this sort of content. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers and all that jazz with the Instagram and Twitter. Follow me on that and you can send me your teams there and I'll offer you my opinion and try to help as best as I can. But without further ado, let's get to my team and your questions. And thank you everyone who has joined in. I really appreciate it. Apoman says, is a bench boost of Areola, Dallas, Rafinha and Soufal worth it considering I've triple captain Kane? Well, if you've triple captain Kane, then you can't use the bench boost because you can only use one chip in a week. So yeah, in terms of is that bench boost worth it, it's still a decent one. I'd expect points from Areola, Dallas and Rafinha, but Soufal I'd probably expect maybe 1 point, 2 most, but you never know. Could maybe kind of fluke an assist, you never know that. Home Sweet Home, welcome. Yeah, thank you for joining in, and good morning to you as well. Agawao says, hey Dylan, who is the best triple captaincy this game week, and is Kane triple captaincy a good option? I mean, you just mentioned him. I think Kane is the best option, and if you look at his record against the bottom 7-8 clubs, which obviously both of his opponents fall under, it's exceptional. And if you look also at his points across 2 game weeks, which kind of form a double game week, I mean, he's basically the standout pick. So yeah, I'd definitely go for Kane. Obviously, a lot of people will be captaining him, but still triple captaining him compared to someone who doesn't have him, for example, like me, then yeah, you've got a big advantage. And some people will be just so desperate to get him in, they'll be taking -8s, -12s, -16s maybe. So yeah, you already got an advantage there. So yeah, I triple captain Kane, but if not, if you want to look somewhere else, there are still other options. Calvert-Lewin is a bit of a differential. I wouldn't trust him enough to give it, but he is an option. Bruno Fernandes is always an option. Mohamed Salah, Son, Gundogan still. So yeah, there are plenty of players you could go for. I'm potentially triple captaining Fernandes this week and selling him next week to potentially move to KDB. Thoughts? It makes sense because Man United's fixtures look really bad over the next few, but I'll be honest, obviously things can change, but for the whole season, I think Bruno's just a keeper because he vastly outperforms KDB in everything pretty much. And with City, there are so many sources of goals and assists. And also, I'm just saying, Kevin De Bruyne hasn't scored a goal from open play this season in the Premier League. Bruno Fernandes can do that. He has the penalties. And he's got the assists. And he's United's main man. So if United win and he's involved, he will get bonus points. So I think Bruno is the better option despite the fixtures. But if you want to go for Kevin De Bruyne, who's a differential, who has a double game week in 27, it makes perfect sense. Vivek says, which defensive double up for double game week 26 is a good differential apart from Man City, considering that many teams will have a template midfield and attack of Bruno, Salah, Gundogan, Kane and DCL, plus I'm bench boosting. I'll be honest, I'm not too keen on doubling up on any defence, so I was considering the possibility of maybe going for Shaw and Wan-Bissaka, but despite United's good underlying stats, I don't trust them enough to actually keep the clean sheets. Then you look at Everton, I did bring in Digne, by the way, that was my transfer. I brought in Barnes and Digne. But I don't trust Everton enough. I mean, I was actually even kind of doubting this move for Digne, but because of the attacking potential, because of the fixtures and the potential double in 28, I went for it. But I just look across the board, I'm not too sure. Liverpool, definitely not. Spurs, no, because there's too much rotation. I would even be hesitant to double up on one. You could maybe say Villa, but even then, they've been poor recently. But maybe Martinez and Target as a defensive double up. Considering the fixtures and on a bench boost, I think that could work well. But I'm still not too keen. I don't expect 2 clean sheets for Villa. I expect Leeds to score there, maybe a few goals. Against Sheffield, that's where you probably expect that. So, yeah, ironically, I'd probably say Villa is the only other team I'd consider. Chelsea, if they had better fixtures, but they've got really tough ones on paper, so Rudiger would be enough. So, yeah, that would be my answer for that. Thoughts on my team? Martinez, Digne, Cancelo, Dallas, Gundogan, Barnes, Salah, Rafinha, Kane, Vardy, DCL. And then, yeah, on the bench, me, Burns, Soucek. Who to start? Captain? Yeah, I mean, I think you probably got the starting lineup right. And in terms of captaincy, it's Kane, I think, Ismail. So yeah, that should be pretty straightforward. Obviously, Ben Mee, you'd want to start, but it's 2 tough fixtures. and it's unlikely that he'll get one clean sheet, but you never know. So yeah, I think you've got that right, and Kane captain for me is quite obvious, but if not, you could go for Salah. Alioski out for Reguilon or Castagna -4? Good question, Genius Gamer. I'm not sure. If I was assured that Reguilon would start both games, then I would do it. But then again, if you look at the last time that Spurs played Burnley in a 1-0 victory, Davis played instead of Reguilon. So that kind of already puts me off. And I just don't trust Spurs' defence. They haven't kept a clean sheet in 7, 8, maybe 9 games now in the Prem. So yeah, I really don't trust them. And Castagna, that's a good option, but if you can stretch out a bit more, probably Pereira is the one you want from Leicester. If you're already spending 5.7 million on a defender, that is, because he's going to be far more advanced than Castagna, especially if they play the same system as they did against Aston Villa. It's not going to happen all the time, but if it does happen, you'd want Pereira. Welcome, Wanja. Yeah, your bench, please. Yeah, my bench is Pope, Dallas, Barnes, and Digne. And I already explained this, obviously. The reason why I've got the bench structured in this way, well, partially because it was already set up like that and I just activated the bench boost, but also because they are my latest transfers. So I brought in Pope ahead of Game Week 24, Dallas ahead of Game Week 25, and I brought in the last two, Barnes and Digne, ahead of Game Week 26. So it makes perfect sense. Doesn't matter anyway, I'm getting all the points from all these players. I expect the Leeds players, at least one of them, to do well. And Antonio's the only one I expect to blank, but it doesn't matter anyway. Who cares if he's on the bench or starting? I'm going to get the points anyway, but that's my bench. And for a bench boost team, looks pretty strong. Obviously, ideally, you'd want to have 15 double game week players. And if I had maybe thought about it a bit more beforehand and instead of, more short-term planning, which obviously you have to do, in my opinion. But yeah, I could have had 15. Doesn't matter anyway. And that's the bench I have. So yeah, that is my bench boost team. You can let me know what you think. Watkins or Digne? Yeah, good question. I'd still go for Watkins. I know there's these rumours on Twitter that he's injured or whatever. I mean, I don't know. It happened with Grealish and he turned out to be injured. Obviously, the training pictures gave a good indication of that. And then obviously the FPL insider business. But yeah, I'd go for Watkins still. Next season, FPL should add an extra slot for managers. Yeah, I agree. Is Grealish still out? Arsenal's number one? Yeah, I think he's going to miss the first game against Leeds. And that's what Dean Smith said. So, yeah. He might make the Sheffield game, but it's still a possibility that he misses both games in Game Week 19 and maybe even Game Week 19. I'm looking back at the past, aren't I? Game Week 26 and maybe Game Week 27. Who knows, though? But obviously, you'd want him back for the Game Week 28 fixtures if he has a double and in Game Week 29. Pope or Pickford? Oh, good question. I mean, I'd probably go for Pickford because of the fixtures, but yeah, Pope is definitely the better asset, but yeah, in terms of fixtures, Pickford is the clear winner. Dallas to Pereira for -4 or Dallas to Holgate and Bamford to DCL for -8, asked Mohammed. Good question. Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, I'd probably go with the -8, I guess, but I don't trust Everton too much defensively. So yeah, I mean, the reason why I would say it is because the Bamford to DCL move, the extra fixture, DCL could be one of the highest scoring players this week. But then again, Bamford could do, he could get double digits or at least 6 points in just one fixture. But yeah, it's a tough one. I'd probably go for the -8, but yeah, you could go either one. They both look good. Christian says, which Leicester defender would you buy outside of Pereira? I'm 0.1 million short. What do you think about Dyer Target during this good fixtures? I'd probably say Target. I already keep saying about Spurs. I don't trust them defensively. I don't trust the rotation. And when the Europa League games start to come, they're going to focus more on that. So, for example, right now, Alderweireld is playing in the Europa League, but if they kind of deem him as a third, fourth choice, he's going to be playing in the Premier League. And if you have Dyer, he might just transition to the Europa. So, yeah, I'd probably go for Target, if anything, and also the Game Week 29 fixture. Outside of Pereira, I'd probably say Soyuncu. Maybe Evans, he's more likely to get bonus points, but yeah, I probably wouldn't go for Castagna. Then again, maybe famous last words, he starts doing really well offensively, like he did at the beginning of the season. Is triple captaincy important this week if you don't have bench boost anymore? I wouldn't say it's essential. I've seen some people say that if you're not bench boosting, you have to triple captain. I don't necessarily agree, but I would say if I wasn't bench boosting, I probably would be triple captaining and I probably would have had Kane and then done that. So that would be my opinion on that. But yeah, it's not absolutely necessary, but I would probably do it. DCL triple captaincy a huge risk? I think it is a risk, but risk can pay off, I think he is a good option. If he's one of the best captaincy options this week, why wouldn't he be one of the best triple captaincy options? You shouldn't change your mind based on if you're captaining or triple captaining. Obviously, you want to be a bit more conservative maybe with the triple captaincy because if you captain someone who could blank in both games like Calvert-Lewin, then obviously you're going to regret it, but he should play 90 minutes across both games, or at least 70 minutes plus, and you'd expect him to score at least one goal. So I think he is a good option, and his ceiling is quite high. He scored, 17 points against West Brom last time? So, yeah. Do you think it's worth to keep Rashford as a differential? 12 points in the last game week, or go for Son with a -4? I think Son's the better option, but on a -4, I guess you'd probably want to keep Rashford, especially if you already have Kane. But if you don't have Kane, I think Son is good enough cover in a way. So, yeah. Is Watkins injured? I'm not sure. I don't think so, but then again, I said this about Grealish, and it wasn't until I saw the training pictures where I thought, okay, I think he is injured now. But it depends. I mean, sometimes these sources are completely wrong, so they're kind of hit and miss. That's why I kind of am a bit, skeptical. Bamford to DCL for a hit? Yeah, I think that makes sense. As I said before to someone else, I think that would make perfect sense, and I'd probably go for something like that. Salah, Bruno, Kane. Who to captain? Kane for me, Philip. But the other two are good options. And I think the fact that Sheffield have all of their centre-backs out, I think that increases Salah's appeal. But because of Liverpool's form, because Salah might be relying on too many penalties at the moment, not too sure about him. I'm using bench boost this week and need to replace Ings. I want Watkins -4, but not sure he will be fit after the leak. Already got Kane and DCL. Yeah, if you're not sure about it, then I'd probably keep it as it is. But if you think he is going to play, then it's worth the risk. But you never know. I mean, whatever happens, you could maybe be burned by it. No problem, Ismail. Son and Bamford to Lookman and Kane for -8, asked Jack. No, not for me, because it's a sideways transfer from Son to Kane. I would expect Kane to outscore Son, but you're taking a -8, and you're also getting rid of Bamford, who you would want for Game Week 29, and long-term is a good asset, so I'm not sure about that. How about triple captain Digne? Not for me. I mean, I don't even trust him enough to have him in my team that much, but I got him in because of his attacking potential. I wouldn't triple captain him personally. I don't think Everton are that good defensively. However, if you have a gut feeling, go for it, but I think if I were to captain anyone from Everton, it would be Calvert-Lewin. But yeah, Digne might be a good shout. I just don't see it personally. Obviously, the thing with Digne, his ceiling is really high, but he could also get minus points or just 1 or 2 points. That's the thing with him. You never know what you're going to get. Hi Dylan, Mitchell or Lowton? I'd start Lowton, to be honest. Mitchell is hit and miss in terms of starting. So yeah, I'd go for Mitchell, Tommaso. Dyer nailed. In terms of how nailed you can get as a Spurs defender, I guess he's the most, but I wouldn't say he's completely nailed because sometimes he gets dropped. Against Brighton, I believe he wasn't playing, so yeah, I just don't trust Spurs. I mean, I'd say if you were to get anyone and you think he's nailed, it would be Dyer, but yeah, I don't trust him. Captain KDB or Kane, and why? Captain Kane, because I think he'll get more points pretty much, Singh. Kane, Bruno, Salah, whom to captain. Also, I don't have DCL. Hopefully, it won't hurt me bad. I'd captain Kane, to be honest. And if you have all these players and more, I wouldn't be too worried about missing out on DCL. Obviously, if he gets 20 points or more, then yeah, fair enough. But we'll have to wait and see. Is Sanchez from Spurs a good pick? Which differential defender would you go for? I keep saying it. I mean, I'm not really feeling Spurs defenders. I know a lot of people are because of the fixtures, but I just don't really rate them. I think they might keep a clean sheet against Burnley, but against Fulham, I don't see it. As for a differential defender, I'd probably say Aina from Fulham. I know he's got Spurs in the second game, but in the first game against Palace, a Palace without Zaha most likely, I think that could be a good differential. So yeah, I'd go for something like that. Luke Shaw is technically still a differential, but I think he's gone up to maybe 10% ownership or more. But yeah, I'd probably go for stuff like that. Anguissa to Harvey Barnes or me to Pereira for a hit, for a bench boost, or not do it. Anguissa to Harvey Barnes is the clear one in my opinion, and yeah, for a hit, and you can bench boost if obviously you want to. Dallas out for Stones or Dyer? For Stones. I don't expect them to start both games, but I just much prefer City's defence, and I can mind the possible rotation because they keep so many clean sheets that they make up for it most of the time. And he's got the double in Game Week 27. I think Stones is the clear winner. Is this the good move? Sterling and Watkins to Gundogan and Kane? It looks good on paper. Yeah, fair enough. If you've got like a good rest of the team and you don't have any other transfers to make, then yeah, I would go ahead with it. But maybe a bit sideways, Sterling to Gundogan. Watkins to Kane is a huge upgrade, and you can captain Kane. Both Sterling and Gundogan, once again, I'm not sure if they're going to play both games. There's the FA Cup coming up. There's obviously the Champions League that just happened, so we'll have to wait and see. Start Jorginho or Bamford Rafinha? Jorginho's on penalties, but I'd probably just start Rafinha out of those three. That's my opinion on it. Triple captain Bruno, is it a good option? Of course it is. He's a great captaincy option this week, so he's a good triple captaincy option. The only thing I'd say about Bruno is the Chelsea game, I probably expect him to blank, but it's the Palace game where we expect the return. So anything he gets in the Chelsea game is a bonus in my opinion. Start Areola or Martinez this week? Martinez for me, quite clear for me. On a wild card, KDB in for Bruno? No, because, I mean, obviously, if you want to go different on a wildcard, I understand that, but I'd try to have Bruno and De Bruyne. Maybe get rid of Salah instead. But obviously, it's a tough one, you know. Maybe KDB or Salah will outscore Bruno this week, but over the rest of the season, I expect Bruno to outscore both. So that's just my opinion on it. Bruno or Salah triple captain? Probably Bruno in my opinion. I'm a bit torn in terms of my captaincy. I think Bruno will blank in the first game. I think Salah will blank in maybe one of them at least, probably the Chelsea one as well. You never know. And Calvert-Lewin, I don't trust Everton and maybe him enough for that. The last time I captained him, it didn't turn out very well. Who should I captain, Son or DCL? Good question. Out of those two, I'd probably go for Son. I think in a weird way, he might be more of a differential. I know he's highly owned, but yeah, I'd probably go for Son, but if not, Calvert-Lewin's a great option still. I'm not too sure about Everton and all that. That's why I'm not going for it personally. At least at the moment, I might change my mind. I'm playing my bench boost too. Would you take a -4 for Dallas to Digne? I mean, in my case, I did a -4 from Soufal to Digne. He had City. And I also did, Mitchell to... Who did I do Mitchell to? Oh yeah, to Dallas last week. I wouldn't be too sure about getting rid of Dallas. Obviously, this week you probably make points, but in the long run, I'm not sure. Digne could have that double in 28, to be fair. If you have no one else to, get rid of for Digne, then yeah, I'd go ahead with it. But I'd be a bit reluctant to sell Dallas because this game week he could do well. Game week 29, he'd probably one of the better options there. But yeah, priced out of Barnes by 0.1. Mount a good option. Well, from Chelsea attack, I'll be honest, they haven't been impressive. If you look at their underlying stats, they also haven't been impressive. But yeah, I think if you were to get a Chelsea midfielder, it would probably be Mason Mount. I think he'd be the best option. Don't trust Ziyech. Pulisic is just in and out of the team. Most likely, he's on the bench. So yeah, I'd probably go for Mount if you want a Chelsea midfielder. Thank you, Chris. Best goalkeeper replacement for Forster or Foster. Want to target this double game week. Don't know who's getting 2 clean sheets. Well, I'll be honest. I don't see too many teams keeping 2 clean sheets. Probably Ederson's the only one. So I don't know. Martinez is a no-brainer for me. And in terms of this week, who's the most likely to get 2 clean sheets? Probably Ederson. But if you already have triple City, that's a tough one. I'll be honest. I'm not too sure about the rest. I mean, I did point out Lloris in previous videos. In terms of having a nailed Spurs defender, I don't trust Spurs defensively, but the fixtures look really good. Also, fixture 29, you could go for Areola, but I don't expect 2 clean sheets for both of them. So yeah. Thank you, Rai, for your comment. Really appreciate it. Parva says, start Dallas, Mitchell, or Burn. I'd start Dallas, definitely. Jarrell asks, would you swap Rudiger for Luke Shaw, or even anyone else at all? Yeah, makes sense. Luke Shaw's a good one. I mean, the problem with Shaw is the fixtures afterwards, but he could do really well in this double game week. I'd probably keep Rudiger, in my opinion. Chelsea are very good defensively. Great fixtures after this as well. Marco, hey Dylan, I've done Bamford, Grealish and Pope to Fabry, Barnes and Kane triple captaincy for a -4. Think he'll be worth it? Probably, because Grealish is most likely to miss one of the games. I'm guessing you already have a keeper like Martinez already, so Pope to Fabry doesn't really matter. You're triple captaining someone, which is Kane, so yeah, it makes sense. Obviously, Bamford I'm a bit reluctant about, but yeah, it looks good. Region, a good option for the next few game weeks. If he's nailed, I guess so, but I don't trust Spurs defensively. But if he is nailed, I think he is a good option. He's got a fixture in 29, he's got 2 good fixtures in 26, and he's got some decent fixtures in between that. So yeah, I'd probably say he's a good option if he's nailed. Will he be? I'm not too sure. I expect Davis to come in at some point, but who knows. DCL is a poor choice for triple captaincy. He isn't on pens, no midfield bonus points. The team form is poor. Beating Liverpool isn't something to see positively. Yeah, but to be fair, DCL is in form. I don't think he's a poor option triple captaincy-wise, but he's a risk. With a triple captaincy, you'd probably want to target Bruno, Salah, even Gundogan, Son, Kane. I'd be aiming for one of those players, but Calvert-Lewin is a good option. He's got 2 great fixtures. But then again, West Brom in the last 4 game weeks are actually one of the best defences in the league in terms of expected goals conceded and all of those underlying net stats. So yeah, it's not an easy one per se. My moves this week, Pope to Martinez, me to Digne, Grealish to Gundogan for a -8 thoughts. Yeah, that looks pretty good to be honest. I don't like taking hits for keepers, but it is a double game week. and I expect Martinez to outscore him. You should make up those points, so yeah, it looks pretty good. According to Jose, Vinicius can play Premier League, Harry Kane can't play all games. Does this mean Kane will be rested one game in this week? Very good question, Prashanta. Thank you for your question. I saw that comment yesterday. I think this is mainly... it could happen in Game Week 26, although I do doubt it. But Kane is being managed a bit more. He tends to play every single game for Spurs, then he breaks down from injury. But recently in the Europa League, he hasn't been starting, so... There are signs that he's been managed. They're trying to avoid him being injured because their season will be over if he is, and he's so important to them. I think this comment is mainly for the future, especially when the Europa League games, when they have tougher opposition. Obviously, they do have an easy one. I think they have Dynamo Zagreb in the round of 16, but after that, they might get a really good team Europa League-wise. So that's when Kane will probably start being benched in the Premier League. They focus on the Europa League. They'll put all their eggs in that basket and the other cups, and the Premier League will be sacrificed and they'll put Vinicius Jr. So very good question. Thank you for that. Stephen, or Iggy Stephen, says Rafinha to Gundogan or James Rodriguez. I'd probably say Gundogan. James Rodriguez always gets a knock, and I think DCL is enough cover for Everton. So yeah, I'd probably go for Gundogan. How's my team? Martinez, Shaw, Digne, Cancelo, Stones, Gundogan, Salah, Fernandes, Barnes, Son, DCL, says Ethan. Looks really good. Similar team to mine. Yeah, I think that looks really good. You got Triple City as well. Plenty of good captaincy options. That looks pretty good, Ethan. Mo Akbar, morning Dylan, hope you're well, mate. Thank you, and same with you. Hopefully you're having a great morning. Richard says, also jumping on Harry, form is so poor, the defences will sit deep, plus the last four form for the defences is very much improved. Yeah, that's true. I think, yeah, both teams will sit back, but I still expect Kane to do well. I would be so surprised if he blanked across both games. I think he'll get at least 9 points across both of them, for sure. And I would captain him if I had him. But I'm not going to break my team structure or wildcard and, all of that. I will admit, though, he is... I wouldn't say I'm scared, but I think he is someone who could really punish me this game week. I'm not really too concerned about anyone else that I don't have, but Kane is someone. Son, the kind of hope here is that he covers the points. But yeah... It is what it is, But Kane is a great captaincy option this week, no doubt about it. Great triple captaincy option too. Captain DCL, Fernandes, Kane or Keane, asks Rahale. Yeah, Kane for me, and you could even triple captain him. Is Dyer likely to play both games? I think he is, Genius Gamer, but I couldn't guarantee you that. And the fact that Spurs are so poor defensively, and I don't expect a clean sheet against Fulham, is why I don't advocate it myself. But the fixtures are really good. They've got a fixture in 29, so... If you really want to go for it, then I would say, buy him. But I would kind of be a bit cautious because obviously it looks really good on paper. But when you kind of, dig under the surface, there are quite a few, drawbacks to Spurs defenders. Bruno for myself over Kane. Both away games, he's on penalties. His form is higher. The Man City boys due to rotation. Fair enough. I mean, I hope Bruno does well now. But I do expect a blank against Chelsea. However, Chelsea haven't been particularly tested yet. All the teams they faced are kind of defensive. Spurs, Atletico Madrid, even Wolves and all these teams. And Southampton, when they attacked them a bit, they kind of exploited the spaces in between their wing-backs and their centre-backs and the midfielders. So I think that United could do damage. The fact that Chelsea love to play possession now under Tuchel, I think it could suit United and Oli. So yeah, a counter-attacking system could be very, very good for Bruno Fernandes and co. So yeah, it's a good point. Bamford and Rafinha to DCL and Smith Rowe for a -4. No, not for me, because you're getting rid of two double or blank Game Week 29 players, should I say, and you're getting Smith Rowe, who you'll probably not even play. So not for me. Obviously, DCL is a great option this week, but I probably would avoid that. Jaden says, should I play Ben Mee? He has Spurs and Leicester. Only have Saka, Antonio and Dallas on the bench to replace him, but they only have one game. I'd probably play Ben Mee, but if not, I'd probably go for Dallas. Sanan says, on a wildcard went from Bruno to KDB and Bamford to Watkins. Thoughts? I mean, the Bamford to Watkins one makes sense. You could always get Bamford back, probably for another player, ahead of Game Week 29. Yeah, Bruno to KDB also makes sense. It's a differential as well. But I personally, even on a wild card, I wouldn't get rid of Bruno. That's just my opinion. Should I do Maddison to Barnes for a -4? I think he's not going to play against Arsenal, but you never know. Sometimes these managers are a bit sneaky. But yeah, I think Barnes also offers better value. I'd probably go ahead with a -4, Umar. Bench boost with Rafinha, Dallas, Martinez and Mitchell. I'd try to upgrade Mitchell if possible, but if you had, for example, I mean, even Lowton or me or something like that for Mitchell, that looks like a really good bench boost team. So yeah, I'd probably try to upgrade Mitchell and then bench boost. Rafinha or Saka for future fixtures? Rafinha, he's got the fixture in 29. He's in great form, one of the most informed players in the league. He's, produced in 5 games in a row, so I'd probably go, or at least in 5 of 6 games, I'd probably go for Rafinha. Do you also write an FPL blog? I don't, but that is something worth considering, Brian. I might do that in the future. I do like to write as well. Thank you, Brian, for that comment. Lewis says, Bamford or Rafinha for the starting 11? I've been asked this before through messages, and I said Rafinha. He's more in form. He's obviously going to get the clean sheet point if they get that. He's more likely to get bonus. And yeah, I think he's on set pieces. He can get assists and goals. So yeah, I'd probably go for Rafinha. Also a differential. In a double game week, especially when Bamford, he's only got 1 fixture and he's like 50% owned. I think Rafinha's probably the more tempting pick. If I had both, I'd be going for a Rafinha if I had to pick one. Pick 2 captaincy options amongst Bruno, Kane and DCL. Probably Kane and Bruno, and I'd go for Kane. Dylan says, hey bro, the team: Martinez, Cancelo, Diaz, Digne, Salah, Bruno, Gundogan, Rafinha, Barnes, DCL captain, Bamford, bench, Pope, Dallas, Dunk, Adams. Overall thoughts, transfer ideas? That looks pretty good, to be honest, yeah. I think you've got the bench spot on as well. Yeah, captaincy, obviously, it's a bit of a weird one, as in you can captain so many players this week, but DCL is a good option, so yeah, I like that. In terms of transfer ideas, I know that Southampton have another double game week, but I'd probably get rid of him. I don't know how much money you have to play with, but you could even do Adams to Watkins if you have enough money, and then start Watkins, obviously, if you expect him to start. And you could start Watkins instead of Bamford, and you have even more double game week players there. What time do you start your live podcast, please? Well, this live stream always starts 1 hour before the deadline. I do the same with UCL Fantasy. Yeah, so that would be the answer to that question. Australia, yeah. An Arsenal fan from Australia, that's really good. Prashanta says, I want to use bench boost, but I only have 1 keeper playing. I want to get rid of Soufal, but I did a -4 already. So what to do? Should I use Soufal and bench boost too? I'll be honest, Soufal, I don't expect him to get more than 2 points. Obviously, he could get a clean sheet. Not a clean sheet, sorry. I don't think he will. He could get like an assist or something, but it's really unlikely. Yeah, I'd probably try to upgrade Soufal in a way, even if it's for another -4. But I wouldn't be looking at -12s or more, because then I just think it's too much ground to make up. A -8 in a double game week, I think, is pretty acceptable, and it is pretty much reduced to a -4 if you obviously get rid of single game week players for double game week players. So yeah, I'd get rid of Soufal. Marcus says, I have to play one of Bamford or Rafinha. Yeah, Rafinha, as I already said, definitely Rafinha. The lovely lad says, Martinez or Schmeichel. Martinez for me. Yeah, I think he's more likely to get a clean sheet in those 2 fixtures. So yeah, I'd go for Martinez. Also offers more points across the board. So yeah. If I was re-hitting in 29, would you make the Smith Rowe and DCL moves? Yeah, fair enough. Then you could do that, I guess, yeah. That would make sense. And then the Smith Rowe move, I'm guessing, is to fund DCL. So yeah, fair enough. I'd probably do that. Arsenal's number 1. Who would you put in defence, Cresswell or Chilwell? Probably Chilwell, but I don't expect him to start maybe 1 game, but that's at most. I don't expect him to start both. That's the problem with him. I got Son, Fernandes, Barnes, Gundogan, had money left, so put Tielemans in. Good option, or who would you have instead, using Wildcard? I mean, you already have Barnes, so I would probably not go for Tielemans. So you've got Son, Fernandes, Gundogan. I'd look at Pereira from West Brom, Lookman. Yeah, players like that. Trying to think of someone else. I mean, obviously, Rafinha looking towards Game Week 29 maybe. Also could do really well in Game Week 26 despite only having 1 fixture. I'd go for those sort of players. Your thoughts on Maja? Looked like prime Lewandowski against Everton. Yeah, but to be fair, that was 1 game. But yeah, he did really well in that one. And yeah, I think people were asking me about like, oh, should I get him or Digne or someone else? And I did go for Maja out of the options that I was presented. He's also got that fixture in 29 where he could be a really good differential in that week. Obviously, in Game Week 26, I don't expect too much, but he could still do something. So yeah, I'd say Maja's a decent option, especially if you're looking for a way into Fulham's attack. He's probably the only one I'd consider. Are Diaz, KDB, Cancelo good captaincy options? Yeah, I think they are good captaincy options, but I do think there are better ones because I expect rotation from City side, in my opinion. Richard says, what are your thoughts about Jota returning possibly this week? Could be hurting people with only 2.6% ownership considering he's scoring before the injury. Yeah, that's true. I think he'll be a big boost for Liverpool. I don't think he's going to magically solve everything. They're still pretty suspect at the back, and I think they need more from their midfield. And obviously with Henderson out, yeah, they've had a very poor season. But yeah, I think Jota, when he's fit and he's available, he's starting games, that's when I'd be considering him. You could reserve a slot for him, but for now, I'd probably just kind of wait and see with him. Triple captain, Bruno, Son or DCL. I'd go for Bruno, Craig. That's why I'm captaining him, but the other two are great options as well. And I think Son is being overlooked this week, in my opinion, because everyone's going to be captaining Kane, but there is a small chance that Son outperforms him. Son is more explosive than Kane. Kane's more consistent, but Son could do really well. Should I play Antonio or Dallas starting lineup? I'd play Dallas, in my opinion, Akil. Barnes, Gundogan, Salah, Bruno, Son, DCL. Choose a captain. I mean, I'd say you choose a captain. It's up to you. But if I had to pick from those, it'd be Bruno. But they're all good captaincy shouts. Random Junkie says Rafinha to Pereira. West Brom would still be able to get Rafinha back on later, plus others to have 10 playing in Game Week 29. Yeah, that looks like a good move, Random Junkie. And I like those sort of moves, you know. Believe it or not. Obviously, I don't do them too often myself, but that looks good. And obviously, you could always get Rafinha back. Yeah, so yeah, that looks pretty good. Gundogan or Kane captain? Kane for me. I'm used to saying Gundogan because he's been so good recently. I've used my triple captaincy. Should I put on Kane, Bruno or Cancelo? I'd say Kane, my opinion, James. He's the most consistent. He's got the best fixtures. Well, technically Bruno is the most consistent, but you know what I mean. I think with Kane, he's the most likely to not blank. You know what I mean? With Bruno, I do expect a blank against Chelsea, but I'm still captaining him because of that Palace fixture. Castagna or Dyer in this game week for a hit, for a bench boost? In that case, I'd probably go for Dyer, but that's a tough one. Genius Gamer. Should I transfer Chilwell for a -8, as I have already transferred in Barnes for a -4 already? It depends who you get in for Chilwell. I wouldn't, even Pereira, I wouldn't do another -4 from Chilwell to him, but I don't think Chilwell will play across both, so maybe it could be made up anyway. So yeah, I would probably take another -4 for Chilwell. If he was starting, then no, I wouldn't, but he isn't. Although, to be fair though, with Alonso, he's kind of suspect still. I do think that Chilwell will be given a chance, but I just couldn't tell you when. I'm not sure if he'll play these games. Play me or get rid of for Digne, sure, for free. Well, to be honest, if you have nothing else to do, Izad, I'd probably get rid of him for free. And because of the double in 28 potentially and the good fixtures in 26, I'd probably say Digne. And Shaw has bad fixtures afterwards, so yeah, Digne. Went for double Leicester defence, Castagna and Pereira. Is it too risky on a wild card? Asked Sanan. I think one's enough in my opinion. Obviously, back your gut, but I do expect Arsenal to score a goal. And if not, if they do keep a clean sheet against Arsenal, I do expect Burnley to score. I don't see 2 clean sheets for Leicester there. So I'd go for one of them. I'd probably go for Pereira. He's more of a differential. He's going to be more advanced if they do play him as a right midfielder. So yeah, I'd go for one of them. Please suggest squad improvements, says Home Sweet Home. Martinez, Pope, Target, Lowton, Stones, Diaz, Bruno, Salah, Gundogan, Barnes, DCL, Antonio, Watkins, Dallas, Son. To be honest, that looks really, really good. Because you have Pope and Lowton, maybe you could move one of them on. So I don't know how much money you have to play with, but maybe get rid of Pope and downgrade him, because Lowton's someone good you can have on your bench. He could be very good coming on. He's also more of a differential. And you could do Pope to, I'm not sure, maybe Areola or Lloris or whatever. I mean, I don't know if you're bench boosting. If you are bench boosting, I'd say Lloris. But otherwise, yeah, Areola's a good one. Also has a fixture in 29, which is probably better than Martinez's. So yeah. Mickey says, play Rudiger alongside Diaz and Stones or transfer him out, but to who? Can't get Digne. I'd just play Rudiger, to be honest, because even though I don't see like 2 clean sheets anyway, he might keep one, maybe against United. He's just got good fixtures after 26, so I'd keep Rudiger. Pickford or Areola as a bench boost keeper? Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, Pickford has the much better fixtures. Areola's better long term. I don't trust Everton defensively. Believe it or not, I do trust Fulham a bit more, but the fixtures aren't as good, so I'd probably go for Pickford, but it's a tough one. Oh yeah, who's on my bench boost? Yeah, my bench boost is Pope, Dallas, Barnes and Digne, and the reason why I have them on the bench is because 1, they're already there, and I just activated the bench boost already, so it doesn't matter. And 2, it's my recent transfers. So Pope came in ahead of Game Week 24, Dallas again ahead of Game Week 25, and then the other 2 came in for this week. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It doesn't really matter anyway. But hopefully I do gain some points from this bench boost. And to be honest, it is an overrated chip. I just want to get out of the way and then start to focus on my triple captaincy. And to be honest, I see people saying, oh, when can I use the triple captaincy? I don't really see an opportunity. Well, I think when more double game weeks are announced, that's when we'll have a clear idea. But I would be probably aiming for Son, Kane or Bruno triple captaincy at the moment. If Salah and Liverpool were more consistent, right? Should I say Liverpool? I think Salah has been. Then yeah, I'd probably be looking at him as well. But yeah, that's just my bench boost. Is it the right time to use the triple captaincy chip on Kane or hold for another double game week? Good question. I mean, that's pretty much what I just was started to address. So great segue there. I think triple captaincy on Kane makes sense. It's a logical move. The thing with triple captaincy, you also want a floor along with a ceiling. You want someone who you know is going to return, and 90% likely that Kane will give at least one return there. So I think it's a good option. There might be better differentials or, triple captaincies along the way that will gain you more ground, if you know what I mean. Because a lot of people will be captaining Kane this week. So triple captaining him won't necessarily gain you that much. But over people like me who don't have him at all, if he does really well, then yeah, you're gaining so much. So I would go for triple captaincy Kane if you already use your bench boost. But it's all team dependent. Areola or Keller or Pickford. I mean, Keller's not going to play. I'd say Areola long term, but for this week, if you're bench boosting, Pickford, but overall Areola, no doubt about it. Triple captaincy Kane or DCL, I think Kane, but if you want something different to gain ground, I think DCL's a good one. But then again, to be fair, he is one of the most captained options this week, DCL. At least from the polls I've put up and also from what I've seen. I do think overall he won't be as heavily captained as we think, but he's still going to be up there, top 10 for sure. Diaz or Cancelo? Good question. I'd say Cancelo because of his attacking potential. But yeah, to be fair, Diaz is also can get bonus points. So yeah, they're both good options to be honest. And he's a bit more nailed, Diaz, to be fair. From Muru, best replacement from, I'm guessing you say Man United, for Mitchell. Also, Aina or Ben White or Veltman. I got Areola as well. Or any other better choice or play Mitchell. Because you already have Areola, I'd say Ben White for sure, definitely. And he'd be the best replacement for Mitchell. I have only 9 double game week players, no hits, including Maddison, who also play once only. Is it worth getting Aina in for -4 and benching one of Bamford, Rafinha to have more double game week players playing? I'd say no, but if you think Aina will do really well in that Palace game, then yeah, it's worth it. But yeah, just stick with it. Bamford and Rafinha could still do really well. A lot of people will have them on their bench, and if they do great, then obviously you're gaining something from that. Kane triple captaincy and Bamford or Rafinha? Kane triple captaincy, yes. As I've said all day, I think if you're going to triple captain someone from this week, Kane is the most sensible choice. And as for Bamford or Rafinha, I'd start Rafinha. Should I bench Bruno? Whoa, or Gundogan for Traore? I feel like Bruno blanks and Gundogan gets rested. Nah, I wouldn't do that. I'd start both of them, to be honest. Because even in one game, I mean, look what Gundogan did in Game Week 24. So yeah, not for me. I might be late, but triple captaincy... Dominic Calvert-Lewin, good move. It is a good move. At least it's an interesting one. It's quite something different. I wouldn't go for it, but if you want to gain ground and be a bit different, a lot of people will be triple captaining Bruno or Kane or Salah. Then yeah, I think it's a good option. Obviously, if it pays off. I've got 12 double game week players: Bamford, Dallas, and McCarthy. Anything less than 120 a disappointment. I just say aim for 100. I mean. Obviously, I get it. Obviously, I would be wanting at least 120 points or more, but sometimes it doesn't go the way you want. There might be an injury. There might be players rested like City players. Maybe a captaincy blank. I think if you have a good captain, that will obviously boost you so much and you could easily get to that. But I wouldn't set a figure. I'd just see how it plays out. But yeah, you'd be hoping for triple digits. Obviously, I think that is a good week. If you get 100 points or more, the average will be probably 60, 70. So yeah, I'd say, yeah, don't worry too much about that. No clue who to captain, Barnes, Sterling or Fernandes. Probably Bruno for me, but Sterling's a good one. I don't think he's going to play both games, which is why I'm a bit put off. And against Borussia Mönchengladbach, he played on the right and he had a poor performance, but he's better on the left. So I'm sure Pep knows that, but I would go for Bruno. Triple captaincy Richarlison as a differential. I mean, if people are considering triple captaincy for Calvert-Lewin, obviously he's much more consistent than Richarlison, but he's been in form, he's a streaky player, why not? I mean, he could be a good differential. I wouldn't go for it myself, I'm just being honest with you, but yeah, if you're feeling it, then why not? It could be really, really good. I don't think he will be one of the high-scoring players this week, but you never know, there's stranger things have happened. Areola, Ben Mee, Rudiger and Rafinha already on -8. Worth it to bench boost? I mean, yeah, because you've got 3 double game week players there, and you've got Rafinha. Yeah, I think it's worth to bench boost. Yeah, and you're -8. Yeah, I think the bench boost would cancel that out pretty well. I'd go for it. Why captain Bruno? The Palace fixture, I do expect big things. 2 away fixtures for Bruno. He's on penalties. Also, to be fair, despite I think Chelsea will be a tough game and Bruno could blank, if United are a bit more adventurous and they play on the counter and they exploit Chelsea's weaknesses, I think they could get a few goals there, maybe 1 or 2 goals, and Bruno would be involved because, I don't know, I think Tuchel, I mean, I'm not sure. He has struggled against United over the past with PSG, but I don't know, I think Bruno could do something in that game, but if not, the Palace game, I'm looking at that and I think he could do really well. Yeah, and he's the most informed player in the league right now. And yeah, I just back him to do well. Obviously, Son, I think he is someone maybe I should consider more. Salah, I think he should be on consideration always. Calvert-Lewin, City players because of rotation, not too sure about them. But yeah, there's plenty of options this week. If I had Kane, I'd be going for him, but I'm going for Bruno. Oh, is a -12 from Robertson, Soufal, Soucek to Ben White, Digne, Barnes worth the hit for bench boost? I mean, Soufal and Soucek make sense, and they're good hits, but Robertson to Digne, I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm guessing it also helps you afford the other ones. I mean, I try to reduce it to a -8 if possible. I think Robertson could do something in these double game week, probably a clean sheet against Sheffield or something like that. I'd try to reduce it to a -8 if possible and keep Robertson. Bamford, Rafinha or double game week defender? It depends which double game week defender, to be honest. It's a bit vague. It depends. If it's a Burnley defender, for example, you could arguably play Rafinha over them. But yeah, that's my opinion. How's Vardy as an option? I think he's always a good option. I think he'll score against Arsenal. He always does. And against Burnley, he could do something. He did well last year against them. And that's, I think, where his little run started, where he scored in, 8, 9 consecutive games. So he's always a good option. But the way I see it, the amount of value that he is, I mean, you just want to go to Kane. And then for Leicester, I think Barnes is good enough cover, if not Maddison. So, yeah, that's why for Vardy, I wouldn't personally go there, but you should never rule him out. And if you had him, he could be a captaincy option this week. Who to captain, Bruno or DCL? Don't have Kane. I'd go for Bruno, but DCL is more of a differential. If you're looking to gain ground, I'd probably go for him. But then again, I mean, a lot of people, at least in the online community, have pretty much been choosing DCL over Bruno, so goes either way. Play Dallas or Rafinha? I'd probably go for Rafinha. I think Leeds are more likely to score than keep a clean sheet, but obviously we never know. Arteta said Saka was fatigued. Think you would bench boost with him? Would like to keep for the blank game week and nobody around that price I want to bring in. Well, if you don't have Rafinha in, you could get him in, and pretty much identical price. Better FPL asset for sure. So yeah, if you don't have Rafinha, I'd probably do Saka to Rafinha and bench boost. But yeah, I think he might be benched, and it makes perfect sense. I wouldn't be crying if it happened, for example. I know a lot of Arsenal fans might, but you have to also think about the player. So yeah. Genius Gamer, I already answered your questions about nailed Spurs defenders. It's probably Dyer, but I'm not too sure about Spurs. Should I go for Digne -8? Chelsea Blues asks. It depends who you bring him in for. So yeah, tell me who you're bringing him in for, and I'll give you I'll give you a better answer. Should I start Rafinha and bench Grealish, or do Grealish to Son for a -4 and bench Rafinha? I'd probably take a -4 for Son, but keeping Rafinha isn't the end of the world and starting him. Bench boost, McCarthy, Dallas, Bamford, Rafinha. I've got 3.7 million in the bank. McCarthy to Martinez, Bamford to DCL. Yeah, I'd do McCarthy to Martinez for sure. I don't trust Southampton defensively, and despite Villa's drop-off, I prefer Martinez. And Bamford to DCL is also a good pick. So if you have 2 free transfers, they make sense. And yeah, I agree, Dyer Garassa, it would be Dyer. Should I bench Bruno? Yeah, I already answered your question. So yeah, there's no need to spam the chat. Which one of these defenders would you bring in for a bench boost? Target, Fulham defender, or Dyer? I'd probably go for Target. Even if you already have Martinez, I'd probably go for him. But yeah, obviously a lot of people would say Dyer, but that's just my opinion. Are the fixtures confirmed for blank Game Week 33? Any fixtures potentially going to be removed or added? Yeah, Marcus, in Game Week 33, so let's have a look here. And we've got 60 minutes still. Yeah, it's the Carabao. Oh, damn, that is one of the worst voice cracks I've ever had. Yeah, as you can see there, no Spurs or Man City fixtures because they have the Carabao Cup final in that week. So I'm not too sure. Let me actually check now. Who would they face? Would they face each other? I think it is. Yeah, I think they face each other. Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. So I think they face each other in game week 33, but they also have the Carabao Cup final or something like that. So they're blanking Spurs and City. So if you're wildcarding around game week 30, 31 or 32, bear that in mind that going triple City might not be ideal in that case. You'd probably want to start bringing them in after that blank game week. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. And let's go back to game week 26 here. Some pretty good fixtures here, and obviously, like I already said, all the way until Thursday, it's going to be a long game week. Hopefully it goes well. Yeah, I already asked your question, answered your question, Pranav, about Diaz, KDB and Cancelo, so no need to spam the chat. I put people on timeout who do that. Bench Bamford or Rafinha? I'd bench Bamford from those two, but obviously it could go either way. They're both good assets, but I'd start Rafinha. Barnes or Watkins? Choose one. Barnes for me. Unless you're talking about Ashley Barnes. In that case, it's easily Watkins, but yeah. Watkins over Ashley Barnes. Harvey Barnes is better than both of them. I've already taken a -4. Should I take another one to bring in Keane from Everton? Ask all about football. I mean, I don't know who you're bringing him in for, but if you're bringing him in for someone like, I don't know, a Soufal or a Mitchell, then yeah, I'd do it. Can you play your triple captaincy and bench boost at the same time or only in a different game week? No, you can only play one, which is why I said that before and also in previous videos. Yeah, you could only use one chip. Doesn't matter if it's the free hit, the wild card, triple captaincy, bench boost, only one chip per week. Salah out, Barnes in, Brewster out, Kane in. Yeah, that looks really good, Pratik. I like those moves. Dylan, should I play Ben Mee or Patrick Bamford? Great question. I'd probably go for Bamford, but then again, Ben Mee does have 2 fixtures. But yeah, I'd probably go for Bamford. How's your bench so good? I mean, to be fair, I had a lot of money with Kane, and then when he got injured, I got rid of him. And from that point onwards, I started investing money across my defense, across my keeper for the double game week 24, and then now for this. And obviously, I'm not planning to have this bench forever, or at least this squad depth, because I mean, just look at how many selection headaches am I going to have from this team. I'm going to be tearing my hair out every week. So the plan is to start taking money out of this team even before the wild card around game week 31 or 32 or whatever I'm going to play it. So yeah, I don't want to have this bench forever, definitely. Hi, Atani. Just wondering, are Spurs assets essential? And if so, should I be taking -4s, 8s to get in Son or Kane? -4s make sense. -8, obviously, you're getting into more, risky territory. But yeah, even they make sense. I think Son and Kane are the Spurs players you want. Maybe one Spurs cover in the fence like Lloris, but I'm not too sure about that. But Son, having at least one of Son or Kane, I think is probably the right thing to do. Going without neither of them would be scary, definitely. Meslier or Pope? I'd go for Pope, and don't spam the chat because I will put you on timeout if you do spam the chat. Should I make a -4 for Martinez for Pope or Mings for Bednarek? I'd probably say Mings for Bednarek because Southampton are awful defensively. They have no Oriol Romeu, and yeah, you're getting Mings who covers Villa, and you already have Pope who has a double game week and he's a good asset going forward. So yeah, I'd get Mings in. Captain DCL, Kane, Salah, Fernandez. Kane for me, Dr. Bot. Should I triple captain Kane or bench boost Sanchez, Soufal, Rafinha, Bamford? That's a great question. I'd probably triple captain Kane because you've got Soufal there and I don't expect too much from him. Obviously, the others could do really well. Yeah, I already answered your question, GSP, about your bench boost, and I said you should go for both of those moves, McCarthy to Martinez and Bamford to DCL. But if you had to pick one, McCarthy to Martinez. Don't spam the chat. There's no point. Sheikh says, is captaining Salah over Bruno or DCL a good option? I think so. He's being overlooked, and because Sheffield have none of their main centre-backs, I'd probably, I think he's one of the best options this week. Obviously, people are kind of put off him because of Liverpool's form, but I think he's really good. So, yeah, I think he's a good option. Play Dallas, Rafinha or Bamford? I'd play Rafinha, Dr. Bot. Should I keep Saka in my team or go for a -8 and go for another midfielder in? I've already got like 3 million in the kitty. Yeah, I'd probably get rid of him even for a -8. Especially if you have 3 million available. I mean, for example, if you don't have Barnes, I think that's a natural switch. Saka to Barnes. I probably need to get rid of McCarthy, right? I have Martinez. Who would you recommend or save a transfer? I mean, if you're not bench boosting, it doesn't really matter. But if you are, then yeah, I would make a transfer now. And probably for Lloris or Areola. Or something like that for this game week specifically, at least. Yeah, something like that. Even De Gea is an option. But otherwise, yeah, just save the transfer going forward. Should I make a -4 Martinez for Pope or Mings for Bednarek? I think, yeah, you already answered this. Yeah, don't spam the chat. Yeah, I already answered that, so hopefully you got that. Me to target or Digne? If you don't have Martinez, I'd arguably say target, but I think Digne has more upside. He's got more attacking potential for sure, but yeah, it's a bit hit and miss with both of those. But yeah, if you have Martinez already, go for Digne. Otherwise, you could go for target. Is Pereira a solid choice for a sub 6.5 million midfielder? Is there any better? I'd say, well, for this game week, maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, is Gundogan? Yeah, Gundogan is still technically sub 6.5, so I think he's the best. But otherwise, yeah, Pereira, Lookman, Rafinha. I think overall Rafinha is the best, apart from Gundogan. But because he only has one fixture, yeah, not too sure about that. Not for this game week anyway. Triple captain Kane, yeah, definitely. Karen, definitely. McCarthy to Martinez, Bamford to DCL from -8. Oh my god, yeah, I already answered this question. Yeah. Cheers, yeah, I think Saka may be benched as well, and I have Rafinha on the bench already. Ah, okay. Think worth -4 to swap Lowton to Aina or another 4.5 defender? I'd probably keep Lowton in that case, but if you have double Burnley defence, then maybe, because I don't expect a clean sheet there, so yeah. Should I bring Martinez instead of Pope? Yeah, no, I have to put people on timeout. I warned people before. There's no need to spam the chat. Richarlison or Watkins to replace Ings on the bench boost? I'd probably go for Watkins, but if you don't have DCL, then Richarlison could be a good differential, but my ideal one would be having Watkins and DCL. Triple captaincy on DCL, Son or Watkins. I'd probably go for Son out of those three, but then again, DCL is also another one. I mean, I'm not sure. Yeah, DCL or Son for sure. I wouldn't go for Watkins. He's too inconsistent. Thoughts on Burn to Soyuncu for bench boost? Yeah. I think that's a good move. Obviously, Burn has that fixture in 29, but you could always get him back. But yeah, Soyuncu's a good one for a bench boost. Bamford to Watkins -4. Yeah, I'd probably go for that. Yeah. And also you have another Game Week 29 fixture, also a double Game Week in 28. Obviously, Bamford does have that fixture in 29 too, though. Ben-Mee, Kilman, Creswell for Digne, -8. Yeah, I'd get rid of Kilman for Digne, -8, yeah, because the other two, Creswell covers 29. You've got Ben-Mee, who's a double Game Week player now, so yeah, Kilman's an easy one. Son for captaincy, your thoughts? I think he's good. He's overlooked. Most people are looking at Kane, but Son can still outperform him. Yeah. You know what? I might actually vice-captain him. I think I had him vice-captain anyway, but yeah, I'd probably go for something like this. So yeah. That's the only change I made in this stream, really. Vice-captain from Salah to Son. I am an Arsenal fan. I have never had one Arsenal asset in my FPL team this season. Is it alright? Well, yeah, I mean, I had Aubameyang at the beginning, I think. And last season, I only had, Aubameyang and maybe Saka. And I think I used Saka in a bench boost, which was pretty good. I think I got around 25 points or something from it. So, yeah, I mean, since Game Week 3, basically, I've not had any Arsenal player. And with how bad we've been, yeah, it's not really a bad thing, to be honest. Play one of Lowton, Bamford or Rafinha. I'd play Rafinha from those three. Captain Son or DCL, I'd go for Son, I guess. Yeah, I already answered your question, Jagger. Don't spam the chat. There's no need. I don't want to put more people on timeout. If you had Kane in, would you triple captain instead of bench boost? Probably not, because the way my team is structured, I'd still bench boost, but it's a really good question, Wanja. I'd be captaining Kane, but not triple captaining him. I'd get the bench boost out of the way, and then use the triple captaincy in a smaller double game week. Fernandes or KDB? Bruno for me. In real life, I prefer KDB as a player, but Bruno FPL-wise is much better. Thoughts on Tete? -4 for sure. Holgate. Yeah, I think he might maybe be benched in one of the games, and if he doesn't, you don't expect 2 clean sheets. But yeah, a -4 for sure makes sense, I think. But then again, you look at the fixtures after. You know what? I'd probably keep him. He also has that fixture in 29. I'd keep Tete. Mate, Digne should be in instead of Wan-Bissaka. It literally makes no difference, mate, because it's a bench boost team, so it doesn't matter. And it literally doesn't matter. I literally just structured it based on my recent transfers, and they were already on the bench anyway, so it doesn't matter who's there or whatever. Who to play between Bamford and Rafinha? Rafinha for me, Devish. Hopefully you got that. Don't want any more spamming. You think Watkins is a better asset than Bamford this week? Probably because of the extra fixture, but then again, without Grealish, I'm not too sure about Villa. Watkins needs so many chances to score. To be fair, so does Bamford, but you probably would back Bamford more. But yeah, I'd say Watkins is a better asset. Hello, mate. Would you consider moving me for -4 for Reguilon? If you back Reguilon to start both games, then go for it. And he also has that fixture in 29. But if you have a doubt, like I do, about Reguilon being benched, then I'd reconsider. Why are you preferring Kane as a captain over DCL? Kane plays against Fulham and Burnley, who've been pretty good defensively, and DCL plays against defensively weaker sides. Well, because one, Kane is a much better finisher. He also has Son, who can assist him. And two, I mean, we all said this about DCL against Newcastle. Remember that week where, for example, I captained them? Everton disappointed us and Calvert-Lewin blanked. And then meanwhile, everyone else, all the other big hitters were doing really well. So with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he's a very good player. He's a very good striker. Everton can be a good team, but they're too inconsistent. And let's look at their fixtures against Southampton. I mean, last time they played, they lost that game. Calvert-Lewin didn't have a sniff in that game. Obviously, Southampton were much better back then. Then against West Brom, to be fair, they did win 5-2, but they did have 10 men. And Everton were in that period where they were looking really good. But Everton are too hit and miss. I think Kane is a much more sensible one. He's much more consistent. If you look at his returns this year, if you look at, game weeks 1 to 2, 3 to 4, if you pair those game weeks together, Kane is the most consistent asset by far. So that's just my opinion on it. Also, he has the assists in him. Calvert-Lewin, he can get a few, but it's not as often or likely as Kane. So yeah, triple captain Son, I think it's a good option. I think so. And it's a bit of a differential. Most people will be triple captain in Kane. I think that could be a good one. Fernandes or DCL captain? Fernandes for me, Alexander. Me to Castagna or Keane for a -4? I'd probably say Keane, but yeah. Digne or Pereira? I'd go for Digne because of the potential double in 28 and also better fixtures in 26. But Pereira is more of a differential. Leicester are a better defence. So yeah. Is it a good time to bring back Jota? Not yet. You'd want to see him start first because I don't think he's going to be rushed back in because otherwise his injury will be aggravated and he'll be out for more time. So I would wait and see. Put a like on your channel. Great work, Dylan. Thank you. Arsenal's #1. Good to see you again. And great picture, obviously, with Martin Keown and Ruud van Nistelrooy. This channel deserves way more subscribers. Really great content. Thank you, Steve. Really appreciate it. And hope to see you again soon. Rafinha or Mitchell to play? I'd start Rafinha, Shariza. And don't spam the chat. There's literally no point. Yeah. Oh, God. Only if Tottenham was good in defence, Lloris would have been my captain this week. Lloris captain? I would never captain a Spurs defender. Not yet, anyway. But yeah, that's the thing with Spurs. I just don't trust them. But on a bench boost, for example, Lloris is a great option. But going forward, just yeah, I don't really trust Spurs. Who's the best Brighton defender apart from Dunk? White, Kevin. He's the most nailed. And then, yeah, there's others, I mean. But yeah, I think White is the best one. Just want to say I appreciate the hard work you put into these live streams and taking time out of your Saturday morning to do these. Good luck to all and hope your bench boost and triple captaincies pull off. Thank you, Dylan, always with the good and positive vibes. And good luck to you as well. I'm not sure what you're doing in terms of chip strategy or if you're even playing a chip this week, but good luck with that. And yeah, this is all fun and the good FPL chat and football chat. When you remove Salah from the team, the whole team goes to some next level. Yeah. At least keep single game week players on the bench. You get to know the real bench boost points. Yeah, but I mean, either way, it's just what Antonio, Bamford, Dallas, I think. But yeah. Play Bamford or Ben Mee? I'd play Bamford, owned by him. Your thoughts on Richarlison in place of DCL? I'd rather have DCL, but he's a good differential, in my opinion. Thoughts on Maitland-Niles for bench boost, considering he's playing out of position and he has good fixtures after the double? I think he's a good... Okay, look, from West Brom, they have been better recently. I tend to just say avoid them, whatever. But Pereira, Johnston, Maitland-Niles, they're players worth considering. I wouldn't look elsewhere. Like, for example, I've seen people talk about Digne. Nah, not for me. There's too many options up front. To be fair, in midfield there are two, but Pereira is like pretty good. Like, he was the highest scoring player in Game Week 19, and everyone obviously was overlooking him. But yeah, I think Maitland-Niles is a good option. I don't expect too many assists or goals, but from the eye test, he looks really good, and he is a good player, you know, when he gets a chance. So that's just the way I see it. But yeah, I think he is a good option if you want to go for someone different. He's got a double game week, good fixtures coming up for West Brom, but I wouldn't have more than one West Brom player, definitely not. Reason to captain Bruno ahead of Son or DCL? I mean, ahead of Son, maybe I'm overlooking him. The fixtures are really good, but Bruno's the most consistent player. Also, the most double-digit returns of any player this season. Obviously, Son is very explosive too. He's probably got the second most. But yeah, also I expect big returns in the Palace game. And against Chelsea, if Chelsea play into United's hands and United are more adventurous, I think Bruno could get something there. Which is better, Maja or Bamford? Bamford for me. Obviously, for this game week, I'd say Maja, but overall, Bamford, definitely, no doubt about it. I've only ever had Saka and Tierney in my team, never had Aubameyang. Yeah, and to be honest, yeah, it just doesn't make sense to have Arsenal players. Saka, to be fair, he's pretty good, very good value, but the rest, yeah, just pretty poor. DCL Fernandes captain, Bruno for me, but DCL has great fixtures. But yeah, I think Bruno's just far more consistent. I trust United more offensively. That's just the way I see it. There's a Google extension called Better FPL that shows the predicted points for each player for the game week. You can see the next 7 fixtures in color coded based on their difficulty. It really helps me. Alright, fair enough. I'll have a look at that. I've seen quite a few people use those sort of things. Yeah, I didn't know that. So thank you for that, Marcus. Really appreciate it. Dylan says, I got the best of both worlds. Have 13 double game week players, bench boost, and Kane captain. Yeah, that's a pretty good position to be in. Obviously, ideally, I'd want to have something like that. But yeah, that looks really good. Who should I captain? Bruno, DCL, Gundogan. Triple captain, I mean. I'd go for Bruno, but back your gut on that one. The deadline has passed. It is 11. So if you have any more questions, then let me know. But yeah, obviously, if you do ask me something for Game Week 26, just bear in mind that the deadline has passed. We're locked in. Good luck all. Yeah, good luck to you as well, Steve. Hopefully you do really well. And same with the rest who are watching. Love your bench. I'm on bench boost with Pope, Rafinha, me, and Antonio. Your thoughts, please? Yeah, that looks good. Pope, Rafinha, me, and Antonio. Yeah, Antonio might blank, but the rest could easily haul. And even then, if anyone from West Ham is going to do something, it probably will be Antonio. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. Martinez, Digne, Shaw, Stones, Diaz, Barnes, Salah, Son, Fernandes, Gundogan, DCL, Bamford, Maja, Schmeichel, Dallas on bench boost. Thoughts? That looks pretty strong, to be honest. Yeah, you got some differentials in there like Maja. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it around, probably butchering that. I've never actually heard it pronounced. Yeah, that looks very good, to be honest. I should be getting a lot of points. Vivek says, thanks for the help, man. Really appreciate it. All the best for Double Game Week 26. Thank you for watching and thank you for all the help and support. And hopefully you do really well as well. And yeah, it's going to be a long week, so we're gonna find out how we do pretty much after a long time. But obviously, I think I've got 3 players playing now in the first fixture, then obviously Antonio, so that makes it 4. I've got double leads, and then I've got 7 players today, and then after that I have to wait for the rest. But yeah, such a long week. Wow, so many games, but hopefully it goes well. I think Watkins will do good this week. Same. If I did have that extra 0.1 million to afford Antonio to Watkins, I would. Also bearing in mind that they could have a double in 28. But yeah, I just couldn't do it. I'm 0.1 million short, and I just opted for Digne. I might regret it, but whatever. It is what it is. Thank you, Singh, for joining in. Chip exchanges should be allowed in FPL. Oh yeah, I think you said something like that before. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Yeah, I think FPL could do with something like a limitless chip. But I don't know if it's like copyright or whatever. And then UCL Fantasy could do something similar, maybe with a free hit or something like that. Although technically the Limitless is pretty much a free hit, but just unlimited budget. But yeah, they could also do with a bench boost or something. Actually, no, because you can do manual substitutions anyway. That would be a bit stupid, actually. Yeah. You know what I'd actually like to see? Probably like the ability to captain 2 players in a week. That way I'd probably get more of them right and get more points. So yeah, so instead of having a vice captain, there could be a chip for the vice captaincy where they become a captain as well. But yeah, maybe I'm reaching. Just Captain Barnes of DCL. What do you think? Instead of DCL. Yeah, I mean, Barnes could do really well. I think the tempting thing about Barnes is that he's up against Bellerin, and if not Cedric, and Arsenal's right-hand side looks pretty poor. If it was the left-hand side, I'd be obviously a bit more secure as an Arsenal fan, but yeah, I think that's still a good option. I wouldn't captain Barnes personally, but he should do really well. I hope he does. He's on my bench. Well, he's in my team anyway. That doesn't matter. But yeah, damn, it's all done. How many players should suffice for Game Week 29? Suffice. I don't know why I butchered that. Love what you do. Keep up the good work, lad. Thank you, Lipok. And I'd say 7. I tend to say this for blank game weeks, especially ones that don't really have great fixtures. I'd say 7's enough. So let's say, for example, in my case, just to kind of relate it maybe to your team. So I've got Martinez, who has a Game Week 29 fixture. I've got Son. I did have Grealish. Obviously, I got rid of him. I've got Antonio. I've got Bamford and Dallas. So I've got 5 now. I did have 6. I got rid of Soufal for Digne. So yeah, I think just making transfers now, maybe a -4 in there to prepare for 29 is enough. I wouldn't go overboard with -12s or more. I don't think you're going to make up those points. But yeah, I think a -4 with 3 other transfers in preparation for that, or maybe 4, depending on how many free transfers you have now. I think that could be really good, and you could build 8, 9 players, maybe 10 or 11, and that's perfectly fine. But 7 is enough, I think. I wouldn't really be too concerned. If you have 6 or 5, I wouldn't be too worried. But you could always take a -4 in case. I'm back in Leeds against Villa. Have Bamford and Raphinha on my bench boost as my only single game week players. Hopefully they can deliver the goods against the leaky Villa side. Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing with Leeds. Normally, I think, even in game week 19, I wasn't sure about them on a bench boost, especially when their double game week got taken away. But now, with how Villa are, I think you'd back them more and you'd be more inclined to bench boost, which is why a lot more people are bench boosting now than probably they would have before. So I agree with that. When are you thinking of creating a Dylan RCM FPL league? I will be probably creating one soon, but I'll let you guys know with that. I haven't really thought about it yet. But yeah, I have gotten a few requests to do that. Yeah, vice captain boost. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like a good idea, but yeah, maybe I'll get that wrong too. Rainbringer, good luck to you all. Thank you. Good content, Dylan. Sub, you're one of the few people who responds to each and every question. Not many people do that. Keep it up. I try my best. Obviously, it is difficult. There are a lot of questions. I do obviously sometimes not get to everything, but I try my best. Thank you for joining in and really appreciate the feedback. What day will be your Game Week 27 be on? Well, I'll be making a Game Week 27 team selection video a few days before the deadline. So probably around midweek. I don't know, actually, when is the Game Week 27 deadline? I think it's on a Saturday again. So next Saturday. So it'd be 1 hour before the deadline. So 10 o'clock or 10 a.m. GMT, so UK time. So yeah, just 1 hour before the deadline, I'll be streaming. I hope Meslier keeps a clean sheet. Took him over Pope. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind. Obviously, I've got Dallas, and I don't have any Villa offensive players, so I wouldn't mind. Actually, yeah, that looks pretty good. Hopefully, that does happen. Would you do gaming videos again? Yeah, I think, especially when FPL and the Premier League is over, I think the plan would be to do some gaming videos to keep the channel active around the summer. So yeah, I would be looking to do that. I was doing a lot of streams before for Battlefront 2, for Fortnite. I don't really play those games anymore, but yeah, I could do stuff like that, even gaming clips, just to keep things varied. I mean, the kind of original plan was to do, talk about football, FPL, and then do gaming stuff as well, even maybe film stuff. So yeah, it's definitely a possibility, no doubt about it. I've seen people ask me for FIFA streams. I haven't really done Crimo too much recently anyway, but I wouldn't mind doing that. So yeah. Thoughts on the team for bench boost? Martinez, Lloris, Cancelo, Aina, Target, Soyuncu, Shaw, Salah, KDB, Gundogan, Barnes, Raphinha, Kane, Captain, DC on Watkins. Yeah, I'm trying to pick out a hole there. It looks pretty good. And yeah, on a bench boost, as I already pointed out, I think Lloris is a good option. Obviously, beyond that, I wouldn't be too keen, but I think it's good for this week. Yeah, that looks very solid. You've got the Leicester defence in there. You've got Aina, who's a bit of a differential. Or Aina, if I butchered that probably. But yeah. You could have removed Salah for Kane. I could have, but that would have been a -12, mate. So I would have had to take a -4 for Salah. I don't know, maybe to anyone, and then another -4 for Antonio to Kane. I just don't think it's worth it. I've already got Son in there. The plan was to bench boost anyways, and that's why I got in Barnes and Digne. If Grealish didn't get injured, I could have just taken a -8 to get in Kane, and then I would have maybe considered it, but no, not for me. I'm not taking a -12 to get in Kane. Obviously, he might get 20, 30 points this week, but what can we do? Fingers crossed Kane gets the flu or something. Yeah, or hopefully he blanks both games and Son's the one who does the business. I wouldn't mind that at all. I would not mind that. Yeah. Games every day from now on until Thursday. Don't tell the missus. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're all going to be fed up of us. But, hey, football comes first sometimes, you know what I mean? But, yeah, hopefully some good games. Hopefully Arsenal win, but early kickoff against Leicester, I'm not confident at all, especially with how Arsenal defended against Benfica the other day. Which one should I put in, Maja or Bamford? Well, Stephen, the deadline has passed. But for this game week, I've said Maja. Overall, Bamford's a much better asset. So, yeah. So, unless it's a question of who you're transferring in, Maja for this game week. But, yeah. Thank you, everyone who has joined in. Really appreciate there's still a considerable amount of people in this. And if you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. and I'm going to be making more team selection videos, chip strategy videos, especially because I haven't wildcarded yet and I haven't used my triple captaincy. I'll be making more videos on those chips, and yeah, and I'll also be doing more live streams in the future if you lot enjoy them. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and you can send me your teams there. You can communicate. We can obviously talk about football and FPL, and if you have any questions, you don't even just have to DM me. You could also just, you know, send posts publicly, and I'll try my best to respond. But thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and hopefully you have a great game week. It's going to be a long one, and it's a sunny day in London, hopefully. It's a sign of a good week, but yeah. No Bruno in your team, yeah. Oh yeah, actually I did not even notice that, but the team actually looks really good without that. Obviously, yeah, you got KDB instead of Bruno. Yeah, that's a good point, Dylan. Yeah, he did not have Bruno, but KDB could do really well. Who knows? How many points do you think you'll get? I don't know, because if I say 100 plus, I'll probably not even get 70, so I don't know. Looking at it quickly, I don't know, I'd say, you know what, yeah, whatever. I mean, I'd be aiming, I can't even speak right at the moment. I'd be aiming for 80 or more, but if not, yeah, well, what can we do? I mean, I'd be very shocked and disappointed if I didn't, but what can we do? 20 minutes left for Pep Roulette, yeah, I mean, that's why I don't even want to stay around for that. I'd probably, if I stay on, you know how last time there was the shock of the fixtures being announced after the deadline passed? Well, it might be a case of I stay on, I see Stones or Gundogan or Cancelo, or maybe all of them benched, and then I just want to maybe just go out and just forget about FPL, maybe delete the app for a bit. So yeah, I don't plan on any more shocks there. Thank you, Lipok, for joining in, and thank you everyone who has liked the video and subscribed to the channel. And I'll be aiming to do more videos, as I said before. And just have a great week, not only FPL-wise, but also just in general. And I'll see you next time. And yeah, hope to see you in more videos in the future.